Hi, everyone. If you are here for the HSMAI South Florida Machine Learning and COVID Recovery webinar, you're in the right place. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds, so make yourself comfortable and we'll get started. Thanks so much for being here today. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the HSMAI South Florida Machine Learning and the COVID Recovery webinar. My name is Carmen Ackerman and I have the great privilege of being the co-president of the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association, the South Florida chapter, along with my co-president, Fernando Harb. I work alongside an amazing and talented group of dedicated professionals who are passionate about our industry. HSMAI is committed to growing business for hotels and their partners, and we are considered the industry's leading advocate for intelligent and sustainable revenue growth and sales as well. If you're not already a member, we hope you will consider membership. We have some fantastic programs planned for you over the next few months with our first in-person mixer, which we're so happy about, on June 29th at Ocean 234. Ocean 234 is an award-winning oceanfront restaurant in Deerfield Beach. It's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't been there, I hope you'll come and maybe even stay for dinner. So please look for the email and you can register to join our colleagues for cocktails, light bites, and great conversation. Members are free to attend this event, and for non-members, it is $15, and the money raised will go to our Dr. Peter Ritchie Scholarship Fund, where we award scholarship dollars for our students who are in the hospitality industry. Also, please note that this event will be limited to the first 60 people who register. We are doing this event in collaboration with our friends at the National Association of Catering Executives. So I think spots are going to go pretty quickly. So please be sure to register as soon as you can. And our deepest thanks to Ocean 234, who is sponsoring this event for us. So we're really excited about being in person with all of you. On July 21st, we will also be collaborating with the Greater Miami and the Beaches Hotel Association for the Women in Leadership event. If you've never attended that event, that also will be an in-person event. It's a fantastic event where they highlight really amazing women every year. So we're very excited about collaborating with them on that event. And then on August 25th, we will be having a conversation with the Vice President of Brand for Marriott Hotels. Her name is Manny Repenecker. She's a real dynamo, terrific person. And that event will take place at the Marriott Pompano Beach Resort and Spa. So we hope you will attend that as well. Before we get started with today's discussion, I have a few housekeeping items I want to run over with you. First of all, this webinar is being recorded and we will share the link to the recording after the presentation. So if you find something of value, you can certainly watch it again or you can share it with other colleagues. We also want to remind you that all your microphones have been muted throughout this presentation due to the number of attendees. However, we encourage you to ask questions through the chat function. Please feel free to ask questions at any time during the presentation. However, all questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. We're going to do our best to get to as many of the questions, all of the questions as time permits. If we do not get to your question, we promise we will respond to you in some manner, either through email or through some communication with you so that you have an answer to your question. And finally, but not least, we do promise to have you out of here by 3 o'clock, which I know is important because everyone's on busy schedules again. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank our incredible board and our team who put this event together for us. Cecilia Obregoso, who is our chapter's VP of Education and Events, Fahima Garçon, who is running our webinar today, Silja Baracol, who is our Director of Social Media, and she just had a baby on top of it. So Silja, if you're watching, congratulations. We're so happy for you. And of course, our Executive Director, Diane Levine Benjamin. I'm going to turn it over to Christina Davis and David Hinchelwood David, I'm so sorry I just butchered your name, Hinchelwood, who will lead our discussion today. But I also want to say a big thank you to Christina Davis, who's the Senior Director of Media Operations for Tambourine Marketing, which is a firm that specializes in being a resource for hotels and destinations around the world. Christina is also on our board of directors. She's been working with our Southwest Florida initiatives along with Shannon Dilworth, and she's recently taken on joining our communications committee. So she's quite an asset to us. So thank you, Christina. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce David, Christina, if you will.
My pleasure. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's session on machine learning in South Florida's COVID recovery from Google Ads and Tambourine. As Carmen said, my name is Christina Davis. I am the Senior Director of Media and Analytics at Tambourine, and Tambourine is based here in Fort Lauderdale. We're a technology and creative firm that sets out to increase revenue for hotels and destinations worldwide. And one of the ways we do that is through Google advertising. So with that said, I'd like to welcome David.
Christina, thank you so much. Carmen, absolutely no worries about the name. If I didn't have it since birth, I would butcher it as well. Hi, everyone. My name is David Hinchelwood, and I am so excited to be speaking today. And I feel truly honored that Christina and HSMAI South Florida asked me to be part of the event today. So my name is David Hinchelwood, and I am Tambourine's Agency Development Manager at Google. I've been at Google for just over a year now, and I've helped Tambourine with digital transformation and strategic planning in the wake of COVID. I hold an MBA from Emory's Goizueta Business School in strategy consulting and brand marketing, and a bachelor's from Harvard University in history and literature and women and gender studies. And just as a very quick plug for Tambourine's absolute excellence, they are part of a very prestigious select number of organizations that do get Google specific partnership. And so in addition to my goofy face and voice, they also have access to all of the latest and greatest that Google has to offer, including betas, our technical support team, subject matter experts, as well as account-focused folks that are there to optimize all the things that Tambourine is doing with Google. And back over to Christina.
Yeah, so today we're here to talk about the power of machine learning, how to harness it within your Google advertising, and explore what we're seeing in South Florida's market today, post-pandemic. So what is machine learning and what it really is? Well, people think it's this big scary term full of the unknowns. People think it's robots replacing jobs, or people think it's losing control of your campaigns, or people may believe it makes advertising so easy that it doesn't involve guidance or human input. Well, I'm happy to tell you that it's none of those things. This webinar is designed to help hoteliers like yourself really understand the practical uses of machine learning and optimizing your business for targeting and bid strategy for your overall performance.
In its absolute simplest form, machine learning is when technology aggregates and analyzes user behavior to help marketers become more efficient and serve better ads to people. And so in terms of how Google does this, Google specifically will collect data from Gmail to YouTube to your overall Google browser to better understand overall user behavior. Based on what our algorithms learn, it helps deliver relevant, personalized ad content directly to the user. And so, of course, this plays a very direct part in our Google Ads experience. Machine learning gives hotel marketers the ability to optimize towards what matters, heads and beds, while predicting things like seasonality, increased or decreased competition, market saturation, as well as just more general changes in the overall industry landscape. So why do we need machine learning? The simple answer is to drive marketer performance by making decisions and solving for answers at scale that would just not be possible manually. Today, as we've teased many times, we're going to just take a closer look at where machine learning can help advertisers such as yourselves and get their marketing smarter. So for the purposes of today, we'll focus on similar audiences, smart bidding or automated bidding, and dynamic search ads. So first, we'll just quickly take a look at similar audiences. So similar audiences is just one example of where machine learning can help advertisers' marketing get smarter. By connecting you with more qualified customers, similar audiences can help unlock new opportunities to grow your business. Powered, of course, by Google's machine learning, similar audiences uses search trends to help you find people who are looking for the same things as your existing customers, even if they're not on your remarketing lists and may not have interacted with your brand.
So an example of that would be, imagine you're hotel.com and users searched at Google for a query, hotels in Miami, and visited your site. Google Ads will automatically add any user that did not visit hotel.com site, but performs similar searches on Google search. Once this user reaches the advertiser's website, they'll be removed from the similar audience list, freeing up space to capture more relevant audiences. In addition to this constant iteration, the similar audiences is also super relevant because users are only on the list for 24 hours. Therefore, they're a great fit for advertisers using remarketing list search ads, which you may hear the acronym RLSA, and looking to acquire new users and improve reach of their campaigns. So just to give you a visual of how this works, we use your first-party data, such as your email database and your website remarketing list, to create a similar audience. When you run an ad to target people searching for, let's say, hotels in Fort Myers Beach, and layer that into the similar audience to reach higher value travelers.
Another way that Google uses machine learning is through smart or automated bidding. So smart bidding is another example of where machine learning can help advertisers' marketing get smarter. So the user journey is sometimes very simple. Someone could possibly just go right onto your website and book, but that is not always the case. So a person may search for a destination and immediately book. Another person may search for a hotel or a location, then go watch a video or two on YouTube about the destination before they visit a website to make a booking. And other people may take routes to conversion that are more or less complex, longer or shorter to complete. You get the picture. But with that anecdote, it's pretty obvious that advertisers can't evaluate which bids are more profitable or relevant for them manually. The problem just has way too many variables, and it is impossible for humans to predict other human behavior. We don't always understand what we're doing ourselves. So the key to masterful bidding is to adjust your bids based on each user's unique combination of signals. Assessing all of these manually for every auction is impossible, especially given the millions of signals that inform consumer behavior, such as time of day, day of the week, device, season, and truly a million others that I will not spend the time naming today. And lastly, the third of three machine learning tactics, we'll just quickly also talk through dynamic search ads. So dynamic search ads are truly the next generation of Google Ads. And essentially what they do is they allow advertisers to create targeted ads at scale and capture more relevant queries by using content on your website, even without keywords. So as you may have heard, there are roughly 15% of all total Google searches daily are brand new. And so even well-managed keywords accounts can miss valuable traffic. And that's really where dynamic search ads come in. They'll make sure that all of your relevant queries will be covered. And what's more, they can deliver 15% more clicks, 35% higher click-through rates at a 30% lower CPA, entirely based on just the content of your website. Next slide. So I know we worked through this pretty quickly, but this was just meant to be an overview of machine learning. So to quickly recap, machine learning can mean many things, but it is not designated to replace jobs or sacrifice control. Really, it's a way for you all to work smarter, not harder, to capture the most excited searchers for your hotels. And just as a quick recap, so Google audiences, such as similar audiences, help you target the right audience at the right time, even if they may not have interacted with your brand yet. Automated bidding helps you bid more efficiently and capture the signals that you may not be thinking about or may not be immediately obvious. And then lastly, DSAs, or dynamic search ads, serve to serve you the right ad at the right time, even if you may not have keywords.
So now that we understand what machine learning can do for you, let's see what's happening in South Florida's market. This data was pulled for all of South Florida, including Southeast and Southwest.
So as a very brief overview, search volume is rapidly increasing and rebounding to pre-pandemic levels, which is music to all of our ears, I'm sure. So April levels of 2021 are actually higher than they were in April of 2019, pre-pandemic, and are also even mirroring the peak summer months of 2019. Of course, with good news does come a little bit of reality. Costs, of course, are also rebounding. But that being said, costs are not rebounding as quickly as search volume. So while search is only about 7% lower than it was in the absolute peak of 2019, costs are still 20% lower. Likewise, we're seeing similar costs across this April and April of 2019, though search is even higher now than it was then. All of this is to say, very simply, now is the time to ramp up your Google advertising. It is the best opportunity to capture market share while maintaining cost consciousness. Just to go a little bit deeper into the overall South Florida market. So keyword Airbnb has captured about 11% of search traffic among the most popular keywords in accommodations and hotel for the period of May 2020 to April 2021. But the good news is we are seeing significant traffic share drops for sites like Airbnb and Vrbo, while we're seeing bigger and continued rebounds for hotel-specific search terms.
And on this slide here, we're talking about the three charts show us where people are flying from your destination. So the chart also shows us the increase and decrease in demand month over month by these origin cities. So although the peak of the typical tourist season is behind us here in South Florida, this summer may turn out differently because less Americans will be traveling internationally for their summer vacation. So when thinking about who you're going to target, consider people living in the top demand cities like Atlanta, Dallas, and Houston who are interested in hotels in our destination. And how far in advance are people making their travel plans to South Florida? The look ahead window trend is the number of days between the search and departure dates. So on average, Southeast Florida is seeing an average of 41 days for domestic and 67 for international. Southwest Florida is seen a little bit differently, 39 days for domestic and 63 days for international. However, don't forget about those last minute travelers. If you need to fill rooms last minute, consider promoting a last minute deal to travelers because we're seeing that rise in the 7-day window. And then finally, how long are people staying in our market? The trip duration trend is the number of days between the departure and the return flight. So in Southeast Florida, domestic travelers are staying an average of 4 days, while international travelers stay 11 days. And in Southwest Florida, domestic travelers are staying an average of 5 days, and international travelers are staying 10 days. If you're looking to increase your property's length of stay, consider running a promotion that encourages or entices those travelers to extend their vacation. And if you want to learn more about how Tambourine and Google can help you on the road to recovery, you can visit tambourine.com/HSMAI, where you can also download this presentation.
And just very quickly, I know that we threw a lot of content at you. Definitely recommend referencing back to this after the presentation. And just on behalf of Google and Tambourine, Christina and myself, I want to thank everyone so much for coming today. I know, especially as we're starting to see clearly through the data, a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of COVID. There's a lot of screen fatigue, there's webinar overload, and you all have so many competing priorities. So it really has been an absolute joy to be here today and to walk through these trends with you. And without further ado, just would love to kick it back over to Carmen.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. And thank you for being so gracious and allowing me to butcher your name. I'm gonna end in a few minutes by saying it properly, I promise. But before that, I know I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to encourage others who may have questions to throw it in the chat. But down here, we're just going to start very soon preparing for creating our marketing plans, our marketing budgets. And I recognize that you work with Google, but ideally, what percentage of a hotel marketing budget do you believe should be sort of designated for this sort of market, for being able to use Google and other advertising formats this way? What percentage of a budget, roughly, do you believe is important to allocate?
David, do you want to talk about how we budget for Google Ads?
Yeah, so Christina, I would love to hear just more generally how Tambourine approaches it. Obviously, the very easy answer is it depends. It depends on how large, national or international your brand is. It depends on what may be your goals if you're just looking to target a very specific geography, and what other mediums or channels you have for marketing, if you do paper mailers, if you do a lot of email marketing. For folks that we work with, it's anywhere from 20 to 35-ish% of the budget does come directly from Google, if it's just search, with maybe another 10 or so percent if they're looking at something like display ads or they're doing some advertising on YouTube.
Yeah, so we use a formula that calculates what the search demand is, whether it's on brand search for your hotel's name, or whether we're looking at travel intent for what's the demand in your location. And we plug in all those numbers of what the average CPCs are and what we think the click-through rate will be for your property, which when our formula is calculated, it spins out what our budget recommendation would be by property.
Okay, very good. And you had thrown up obviously some slides about the expectation, the recovery in terms of the search and departure. I think it was 41 days, for this coast versus 39 days. What has that been historically? How has that shifted? Has that grown? Is that now a longer window that people are sort of considering where they're going to go and they're doing the research, or has that window actually shortened? Because I know that historically that window kept getting shorter and shorter, right? Everyone was sort of making those last minute decisions about travel. But now with COVID, I'm wondering if now people are considering other factors before they make the decision about where they want to travel to.
Yeah, so from what I've seen in the past, in let's say 2019, we were inching shorter and shorter. We were under 30 days, at least domestic. And that, I believe, has increased a little bit in 2020 and 2021, simply because people are deciding, they're dreaming about their travel, so they're not committed as much. I expect that to continue to drop back down. But what is interesting is the 7-day window that is kind of rising there. There's a lot of last minute bookings occurring. People are making those last minute weekend trips because they're vaccinated and they're ready to get back on the road or in the skies. And I think leveraging that short booking window is really important right now.
And what about from the international perspective? Because I think we've all been looking at the domestic numbers. I think Americans are kind of comfortable traveling within the 50 states, let's say, but they're not really ready often to travel internationally yet we are starting to see some international travel. How do you see that coming back, and what do you think that recovery is going to look like maybe in the next 6 months, or maybe even a little bit further out?
Yeah, it's starting to slowly rebound. I think as the borders reopen abroad, people will feel a little bit more comfortable traveling to the US. I think LATAM is a huge opportunity for hotels right now in South Florida. And I think we can leverage a little bit of that willingness for them to get out of their country and come where the flight is only, approximately 3 to 5 hours. We can leverage that if you have the advertising dollars to expand outside of domestic, where there's just so much demand right now. That's really where the opportunity is, but you get that longer length of stay from a LATAM visitor.
Awesome. David, I have a quick question for you, and that is, have you seen this market changed from, or different, I should say? Is this market different from other markets around the US in terms of the recovery that you've seen?
Absolutely. And I think the good news is the recovery has been so much quicker, partially just obviously due to the overall vaccination rates, how open Florida is, but also the fact that it is much more destination. So for more populous cities like New York City, for example, the rebound has been much slower because there is obviously a larger influx of business travelers. Folks are a little bit nervous to go to more confined spaces, whether that's Broadway or a small bar, but beach destinations specifically have rebounded at just an exponential rate. And I can definitely say that the market is not what it used to be in 2019 for many major cities across the United States and also internationally. South Florida has probably one of the strongest rebounds that I've seen just across the entire industry.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, we've always been very fortunate, I think, to be able to bounce back. We certainly, after every major thing, our region seems to bounce back. So it's really good for us to hear. We have a question, and the question is from Mike Hampton, actually, Florida National University. Is machine learning at a level now where we can launch an algorithm that looks for our target market characteristics among those online and can direct a specific ad to that audience, even though they may not be searching for travel-related experiences at the moment? When do we think this will be possible, if it's not already possible? David, you want to start?
Sure. So the very simple answer is yes. Essentially, Google, in their overall machine learning and audience strategies, are able to bucket folks into specific demographics and what we call user interests. And so based on that, we're able to understand, even if you're looking for, say, something home and garden, or you're searching for a specific car, based on your overall user profile and folks who are similar to you that are doing more travel and hospitality focused searches, we'll be able to serve ads to those folks that may not even know that that's something that they're looking for, and still get them to convert.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
Very exciting.
Christina, can I ask you, how many of your clients, because I know like 95% of your clients are really in this hospitality space, to Mike's question, how many do you actually target that are not necessarily looking for travel, like David had said, but are sort of in that? Is that something that you guys look to do also for your clients?
We do. We try to be conservative with our clients' budgets, making sure that we're getting in front of people that are showing intent and just haven't decided which hotel they want to stay. But for those clients that have budgets to, be part of the selling the dream of traveling to, let's say, Miami, we can have an impact through YouTube or display, and really advertise the destination and inspire travel.
Awesome. Cool. And I do have a question. You brought up YouTube. Obviously, Google owns YouTube. Video is king, because it's able to tell a story, right? That's why we use
Absolutely.
video. That's why it's really very engaging. So how important is it, especially for hoteliers who are trying to really distinguish themselves from maybe other competitors in their market? How important is it to create that video content? And maybe speak about a little bit about that percentage of the budget that maybe should be allocated to video, and how sophisticated does it have to be? I mean, can you really kind of just go out there with your iPhone and maybe shoot something and create maybe a small ad, or should it be a little bit more curated? What do you guys think?
David, do you want to take YouTube and I can talk about the storytelling?
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So I think especially in the hotel and hospitality space, YouTube had been more important than ever during COVID because folks really were looking for that overall sensory experience. A lot of YouTube specific ads focused on just overall cleaning and safety protocols or social distancing or COVID specific precautions that are being taken at hotels. But YouTube overall, I think there's this large misconception that it is purely a branding play. YouTube is something that even can be very lower funnel. It can drive action. And the nice thing about YouTube specifically is there are so many different ad types that even if you have 6 seconds of content, you can serve a video ad. And so YouTube has really, especially for folks that are doing multi-channel, have just revolutionized the way that folks look to market because it has become just such an ingrained part of the overall strategy.
Yeah, and YouTube video is a great way for storytelling, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or let's say TikTok. If you can produce a high quality video, that's great and it might be right fit for YouTube. But advertisements on, let's say, TikTok feel a little bit more native, where someone is shooting that in vertical form on their mobile phone, which it doesn't have to be that high production cost video. It can be someone on property or a content gathering team that comes out and shoots as if it's more authentic than a high produced photo shoot with models.
And, you know, I know we're talking about Google and all of that stuff today, but you brought up TikTok, which is really kind of a fascinating platform, social media platform. Everybody thinks that TikTok is like 12-year-olds. And that's who's on it. But actually, I was surprised to learn myself that the demographics on that are growing older and older all the time. So it's a really great platform, especially if your strategy is, you know, to create that sort of native feeling, you know, to ads. Would you agree with that, Christina? Anything else you think we should add?
I think your brand has to fit the demographic of TikTok or the user experience. TikTok isn't as sophisticated as Google at this point as far as like their targeting capabilities. And also the call to action. It is more dreamer, softer KPIs of just impressions and a little bit of click-through rates. But it takes them to a mobile experience on your website. So making sure your site is optimized to receive those visitors. And also it's harder to get the click-through rate on TikTok. So Google is the best fit if you're looking to increase your room nights.
We have a question about case studies. Are there any case studies that can be shared which demonstrate the increased effectiveness this can have in yield? So I don't know if you can pull that from your archive, but do you have any that you might want to share that maybe was a success story?
Yeah, if you go to tambourine.com/HSMAI, we can definitely share that with you at another time. We definitely have a bunch of case studies that we would be happy to share.
Okay, awesome. David, do you have anything off the top of your head you might want to share as maybe a case study that you saw as a best practice that somebody can take away with them?
Definitely. I would have to plus one and just direct folks to the Tambourine link. I have to always go back and verify what is and is not under NDA. We have a huge suite of case studies that can be shared. So if that's something that folks are interested in, if they book time through that link, I can definitely come with Google specific and YouTube specific case studies.
Awesome. And I just wanted to say, if you don't have an awesome agency like Tambourine, which actually was my agency when I was working at Riverwalk Arts and Entertainment District, and they are amazing. But if you want to learn a little bit more on your own about search and display and YouTube, Google actually has an unbelievable analytics academy. And it's, you know, it takes you step by step. It really shows you the basics. I really think it's important to be informed. And it's not to say that you don't have an agency or you might have an agent. It's just to say information is always power. So I would encourage everyone, and it's free. And you kind of go at your own pace and you learn. And at the end, you get this shiny little certificate that you can even place on your LinkedIn profile to say you're Google certified in a specific category. There you go. David put it in the chat. It's skillshopwithgoogle.com. But it is really a wonderful tool, and I would recommend that folks do it. Okay, and I think that we have one last question, then we're going to wrap it up, and that is, have there been any glitches or pitfalls that have been encountered that we can avoid?
As far as machine learning?
I guess as far as, machine learning.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like I think we said before, this is not dehumanizing managing ads. So you always have to keep your eye on the ball and make sure that the smart bidding tools, that the machine learning tools that you do enable on your campaigns, that they are having a positive impact for you. So daily check-ins of how your bids are increasing or decreasing, or how your audiences are performing. You have to keep your eye on the game and make sure that you're meeting your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I would concur with that. And I think that the smart thing to do is when we are laying out our marketing plans, if we create those key performance metrics, right? Where is it that we want to be? And then we have to check in with them. You know, a marketing plan isn't just something we write and then we just put it away until next year when we have to pull it out and revise it. It really should be, you really should check in with those metrics and make sure that they're meeting those goals. And if they're not, the wonderful thing about Google is they'll tell you, they'll say to you, hey, you may want to consider optimizing this, or this, you're having an issue with this. So there really are check-in systems where we can sort of optimize our own advertising to make sure that they're meeting the criteria that we need. But you're, really well said, Christina. Very good. Okay, so Christina Davis and David Hinchelwood. How'd I do, David? Better?
100% A+.
100%. I like being an overachiever. Thank you. Thank you for your graciousness. I want to thank both of you for joining us. I want to thank everybody who's on the webinar today for joining us. I certainly hope you found this presentation as informative as I did. I know I love this kind of stuff. I think it really helps to inform and prepare us for what's coming up. So I want to thank you guys for doing this today and for being here. And also the presentation will be available, and I'm sure that we can contact Christina if we want to get a hold of David as well to ask him any questions, or maybe figure out ways that you can enhance your own program. I know everyone is always happy to do that. I want to again thank our HSMAI South Florida board, who works so hard every single day as volunteers to bring you this program. Christina Davis, Cecilia Obregoso, Fahima Garcon, Silja Baracol, who's on maternity leave, but she's always still with us, and Diane Levine Benjamin. Our next event, don't forget, June 29th, in person. I'm so excited. I hope I remember how to hug and kiss people. And if you don't want me to hug and kiss you, just put your hand up, because I'm headed for you. It's going to be at Oceans 234. We want to thank Oceans 234 and our team who made that possible. Actually, a big shout out to Peter Ritchie, who was instrumental in getting that for us. So thanks, everybody. We let you out of here a little bit early. I hope you got something beneficial out of today's webinar. I thank all of you, and I look forward to seeing everyone on June 29th. And therefore, thank you, David. Thank you, Christina, and have a wonderful day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.